Hopefully everybody finds me because the other live isn't working. I have to delete it. I'm going to see if I post it. If I post it on the community, people find me. Maybe that will work. Every time I try to schedule a live, it just never works out for me. Don't know why. I am live now. Started a new stream because the other stream was glitching. So hopefully that works and all that good stuff. Okay, so hopefully that works. Hey, Maria. Hey, Brown Brujita. How are you, honey? Hopefully, there's 4 people on here. So hello, everybody. Hopefully everybody finds me because the other stream that I was trying to do, the webcam wasn't turning on. It wasn't letting me go live. So I had to like delete that so nobody gets confused and waits on that one and start a whole new stream. So, every damn time. YouTube does not like me. Happy February 13th. Happy Tuesday, everybody. I knew that I took the day off today because I had daytime appointments, 2 doctor's appointments in the daytime. But if I have doctor's appointments in the daytime, I usually still do readings at night. But Spirit told me, I don't know, I just felt like I wasn't supposed to work today. And I agree because I had a day. I had a day today. Oh my goodness. Because I live in not Philadelphia, but like a different part of Pennsylvania. More rural, suburban, that type of thing. And literally we had like a blizzard today. And for like 4 hours, the power went out and everything in my house is electric. Hey, Kelly and Maddox, honey, how are you? Love and light. I had the worst day, Kelly. The worst day. We had no power here because we had a blizzard where I live. So no power in the morning time. Couldn't. But the doctor was snowed in, so we're gonna do a video chat, and that didn't happen because if there's no electricity, no internet, no hot water, and kids in the house, and then the storm knocked out my gas line, so then that wasn't working, so I had no heat either for most of the day. So it was a horrible day today. Yeah, and then you have kids with you, so you're trying to like entertain the children. But I was so happy when everything came on. I started doing a ritual because I'm like, hey, witches back in the days didn't have electricity or gas or anything. So I started doing ritual, and it's crazy because about 30 minutes after I did the ritual, everything came back on. Coincidence or the spirits? Who knows? Maybe they wanted me to spend some time in ritual. I have no idea. I have my flashlight, and you could still light candles. I mean, Oh my goodness. But yeah, I'm coming on live today. First of all, happy Black History Month to everybody throughout the diaspora. And thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. So, and my gas too, because my heat is gas. So, so happy Black History Month, first and foremost. I'm really excited because one, I haven't gone live in 2 years. I checked. 2022 was the last time I went live. I wanted to say thank you to my members because they're the first people I broke the news to, and thank you so much to my subscribers. Everybody knows that I'm very much like someone who stands up for marginalized people, and I've been silent on certain things because I was secretly going through my own battle, with my health. I'm completely on remission now since September of this year, so I haven't been selling classes, I haven't been doing mentorship in the last 2 years, because I had to focus on getting better, going through my treatments, so I am so like I'm about to cry, but I'm so happy to be in full on remission, and I'm so grateful. A lot of people didn't even know I was sick in the last 2 years, but these classes that I'm launching tonight is not only a celebration of Black History Month, and me wanting to teach about these closed traditions, but it's also my way of coming back. I'm able to come back to be a full-time teacher. I love doing my readings, but those of you that have gone to classes with me, I love teaching about the Loa. Haitian voodoo is a big passion of mine. Is one of the main reasons that I made this channel. I had the privilege of being on Kellyanne Maddox's channel. She interviewed me a couple of years ago. And I appreciate it because I got more people to find my channel. And, I always wanted to put a positive spin on Haitian voodoo. I grew up in Haitian voodoo. I always wanted to put a more positive spin on, Santeria while still remaining authentic, because, any child of the diaspora or someone who's called to these paths, it's really hard getting reliable sources. And, there's nothing like, sitting at the foot of your elders and learning about the things that you may never learn in a book, and so that's why I'm excited. I'm launching for the first time. Well, these two classes I brought them back because they sold out, so I'm giving like a second chance because some people are like, oh man. Okay, so the first two is the Papa Legba class, um and Elegua. Okay, so if you ever wanted to learn about Papa Legba and Elegua, and the reason why Spirit kind of brought them forward is because I feel like Papa Legba and Elegua kind of get closed in as spirits that are only for, oh, we just have to talk to them to get to the other spirits. But they are spirits that like rule over so many different aspects, and I wanted to share like authentic rituals that I do and different ways of working with them on a deeper level that I really couldn't touch as much when I was doing the hoodoo classes because it was 7 weeks and I had so many things to squeeze into it. So a more individualized class is going to get you more deeper with them because legba and elegua, they break curses, they strengthen your magic, they are good for finances. They are good for health. They're good for opening up your psychic vision. Like they're not just road opener spirits. Oh, I'm obligated to salute them first. They are so much more than that. It's kind of like when I did the Madama classes in the past. People got to learn she's not just a person who's an enslaved ancestor, but La Madama is a very powerful group of spirits. And I was very privileged to have given that class as many times as I did. So yeah, so that's Legua and Legba. The other two classes, okay, is the Oshun. A lot of people hone Oshun as just a love spirit. And she also is more than that. She's not just a love spirit, she's a fertility spirit. She's a spirit, she could protect the home. She's a spirit that protects children. And in her own right, she in the Orisha path. Okay, so anything to do with Ifa, Santeria, and things like that. She also rules over her own form of divination. She is a spirit, a divine feminine spirit that when the male spirits were trying to oppress women and saying the divination was only for men, she actually used to observe the men going and laying things down on the mat. She memorized it and she had that gift of psychic abilities, right? And when the Babalao couldn't do the divination one day, she did it. And she did it better than the Orisha that actually rules over that form of divination. So she proved that women can do things too. And so a lot of times they kind of pigeonhole her. Oh, she's just a love spirit and do some love workings and some honeys and stuff like that. But she's more than that. She is someone who, is kind of like, she's against the patriarchy. So, you know what I mean? So that's why I was called to give a class. There are so many things you can do with her. She's a spirit that works in so many different areas of your life, very good with money. Okay. Very good with a lot of things. There's so much to Oshun that I felt like she needed her own class. And Oshun is a spirit that my family, we've been working with her for generation to generation to generation. Whether we synchronize her with calidad de cobre, it's still Oshun, and things like that. And then the fourth class is going to be this spirit that comes from Ghana. So some people call her Mama Wata. In Haitian Voodoo, we call her Aida Wedo. In some past, we call her Lubana, Filomena. Okay. She's very big in 21 Division, which comes from Santo Domingo. Okay. I do practice 21 Division. I practice Haitian Voodoo, but I have certain loas that are only specific to 21 Divisions. So I do practice 21 Divisions as much as I don't talk about it because I just say Voodoo. But yes, I work very heavily with Mama Wata, aka Aida Huedo. Or some people call her lovingly Santa Marta Dominadora. And she also gets pigeonholed as, oh, she's just a domination spirit. But she's not. She breaks ancestral curses. She watches over your children. She helps you with every day trying to work in your finances. She helps you to dominate behaviors that may be self-destructive. I had a client tell me, like, oh my goodness, when I invoked her like you told me to, like I literally was shaking just by lighting a candle. Like I felt her. She's very powerful. And a lot of times, Aida Wedo aka Mama Wata, in the voodoo aspect, we see her as divine feminine God. Like she's almost like the female version of divinity, because we believe that along with her husband, we believe that human beings and creation was made by divine, whatever you believe God to be. And then the highest hierarchy of the Loa would be Dambala, and then will be Aida. And together, because they're the infinite serpent, right? That holds the earth together. Together, they co-created humankind and life on earth because they have the Ashe. So that's why I love practicing and working with Oshun and Aida Wedo, because they are their own divine feminine, right? One thing that I really struggle with religion was that it was always about God is a man, the prophets are males, and it's always like a woman is subservient to a man, you know. And what I love, when I actually started going back into my culture, I saw how powerful women can be too. They say in Haitian voodoo, it is the mambos, the female practitioners, right? The high priestesses, right? That are the backbone of Haitian voodoo. You know what I mean? We keep the traditions going. Aida Wedo is fertility. She's believed to be the mother of all creation, okay? Of all humanity, right? She is our mother. So, before I went live, I had fell asleep, and I had like a vision, and she was speaking to me because I was like, I don't know about certain things I'm going through, but she just gave me that confirmation. But when I was going through my health journey, the two spirits that I mentioned in my video, the paranormal video that I did, where you guys found out that I'm in recovery and all of those things, those were the two spirits I was talking about. Oshun came to me and asked me, who are you? you know, Aida told me, your mom's going to come and you're going to be okay. And anybody that knows me, I don't have the greatest relationship with my mother, but throughout my journey of being sick, we have become closer, right? And that's why I have that series on my memberships that I talk about healing the mother wound, how to create healthy boundaries, because I feel like it's important, right? Especially for those of us that are parents. If we grew up in trauma, right? And this is something that Aida Weather does work with, is healing that relationship that may be toxic between mother and daughter, and kind of trying to break that, right? Because she's a mother spirit, right? I'm not a perfect mother, but I try to do better for my kids than was done for me. And I always tell my kids, I want you to do better. If you decide to have children, because they don't have to, if you decide to have kids, do better than what I did. And I feel like in that way, we're breaking generational trauma, you know? So that's why those four spirits came to me, and there's classes for them. And I'm really excited, and I'll keep them posted on the website until they sell out. I don't have my notifications on my phone, so I don't know what's going on, because I just wanted to, come live and see how you guys are all doing and everything else. And, I'm just really excited that I can actually make content more now, because when you're sick and stuff, I was kind of just doing memberships and trying to do as many readings as possible and all those things. But I'm just happy to be able now to come back full time, but I was still doing my activism behind closed doors, um, I still protest, I still get involved with government, I still do. I was just not in the mental space to make videos, because anybody who's a content creator, if you make videos about certain topics, you're going to get certain people in the comments and all the things. And I just wasn't in that space, if that makes sense. But we're back. We're back. I know I have another one that I have to make. That's why I'm not talking too much, because I literally just had an experience prior to logging on here. I fell asleep at 3:33 p.m. and I had a spirit come to me, and it was so real. It was a beautiful dream. So, and like a beautiful experience. I want to save that for an upcoming paranormal series. Okay. I'm going to save that for that. So you have a new episode of that coming. But there's nothing funnier like people that have been reading with me all the time. My doors in my house, they open by themselves because I have a lot of paranormal activities in my house. And there'll never be like a person behind. People at first usually get scared, but after you read with shamanic for a while, if that happens, they're like, yeah, I know how it is. Or they'll see like a orb or a shadow behind me and whatever. But if you read with me for a while, like, you get used to it. So no matter where I go, the spirits follow me. So since I was a little girl. Let me see. Yeah, see, brown burritos like same. Oh, you're talking about like same that happens to you, or same that you seen stuff behind me? Brown brujita, I actually because remember this card. My decks, okay, I think I bought this deck. I don't know if it's a year old or 2 years old, but I do so many readings. Like if I have a favorite deck, I'll keep using them. It has been officially retired, guys. I think she needs to, yeah. I got the new copy that I bought, but it's the second edition. This is the first edition because my cards look like this. And I was holding this up, and so one of my clients was laughing, like, what in the world? I'm like, I know my decks are decking. Look at the back of the card. And I feel like if I keep shuffling it, it's gonna break into like three pieces. So I bought a new one. This deck is not that it's bad quality, please. It's just that I read a lot. So if I like a deck, I keep using it and using it. I think I've been using this deck. Either I bought it in 2022 or 2023, so it's about a year or two old. No, this is about 2 years old because when I first moved here, it's gonna be 2 years. Yeah, this deck is almost 2 years old. So basically, yeah, she needs my decks that are 2 years old look like decks that are 20 years old, but I bought the new version. So it's the mahogany tarot, but again, it's good card stock. It's just the way I'd be beating up my decks. But I bought the other one. It's a second edition. So now this is the way the deck is supposed to look. Ooh. They're supposed to look like this. It's all pretty and everything. It's glossy. See, now she looks cute. We compare it to the. Now this is a four of pentacles, okay? Not what I had going on over there. Okay, let me see. Somebody asked me a question. Will you teach these classes again in the future? Maybe. Depending how they sell and how many people will ask for them in the future. I might, because sometimes I do classes more than one, so it depends. So I'll see how they do. Maybe, but I don't know. Because I have other classes I want to do and like other deities I want to do. So we'll see. Okay. Let me put this back over here. So, because I know the Madama classes, I was supposed to give them I was supposed to give them one time, and I gave them a bunch of times. But the one that I gave the most, that I kept saying like, okay, we're done, was the hoodoo class. That class went on for like 2 years. Me giving that class over and over again because it just kept going. And then I had to retire it because I was like, okay, I want to be, I keep giving the same class. Thank you, Lena. Thank you so much for giving me a super chat tip. Thank you, my love. You're so cute. I love you. But yeah, basically, yeah, so basically, so it depends, Maria. So maybe you never know. Never know. So you said both, lots of orbs. Yeah, lots of orbs. I've had readings where, like, people think somebody's coming in the room because I have kids and there's nobody behind the door. It has kind of freaked out some people. But it's like, hey, it's okay. That's what we do here. That's what we do here. So, you guys have any plans for Valentine's Day or anything like that? Yes, the door opens and it closes. It does. That's true. It does do that. It does do that. So I have to always tell the spirits, like, stop trying to scare my clients all the time. But there was a time that I had to make a deal with my spirits. I don't know if you guys remember, if you've been following my channel for a while. My webcams used to like break very fast, or I used to have really bad sound. A lot of that times is because of, spirits have a high vibration. So they mess up technology. So it will be kind of annoying because I'll watch a video like, oh my God, the sound is horrendous. But it will be like a brand new camera, brand new stuff. They would just kind of mess up the technology. So I'm like, guys, can you please? So yeah, so it happens. It happens. But I've also had people, I had a reading, the clients I could share the story. So I only share stuff that I'm allowed to share. But they had a reading that, they were like, if this person's a real whatever, I want such and such person to show up in the reading. And, I didn't know this prior to reading them. And I'm like, hey, such and such, family member is here to speak to you. And they kind of got scared because they saw the person too. And they were like, that's crazy. Because I literally said prior to reading with you that I wanted a certain person to communicate. So you just never know. You never know. So you never know what spirit's gonna do when spirit's gonna do it. So, like I said, I just got used to it, but my ex-husband doesn't like being in my house. Hey, Trent, how you doing, mama? How you doing, mama? How you doing? How you doing? Happy Black History Month. Happy Black History Month. How's everything going? Maria, we have Maria in here. I can't see her name. It says LOL, but I cannot see her name. Well, the person who typed LOL, how you doing, Queen? Brujita, Lena, everybody, Kelly, Jolia, everybody. Welcome, 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 welcome. Iman. Oh, okay. Thank you. Hey, Iman, how you doing, girl? How you doing? So yes, very, very excited today. I had my notifications off, so that way, whatever, whoever's buying whatever, I'll find out after I get off live. I'm gonna try to squeeze as many people as possible. Yes, Happy Black History Month. Thank you, my love. Thank you, sweetheart. Thank you for ordering the class. I'm excited. So they'll be on the website, all the classes, because there's a bunch of them. So they'll be on the website until so if you see them disappear after today, that means they sold out. But if they're still there, that means there's still spots. Okay. So even after I get off live, you're like, oh my God, or I get paid tomorrow, whatever. If it's still there, you can still book it. Because if I have to break you guys into different groups, I'll do that. I've done that before. Are you guys doing anything for Valentine's Day? I don't have a partner, so I don't really celebrate Valentine's Day. I have a rule that I do not work. I have not done readings on Valentine's Day since I first started reading professionally 11 years ago. I learned my lesson with that one. So I never work on St. Valentine's Day. You, but it's like the worst time to read for people. So okay, you have to work. Yeah, a lot of people have to work on Valentine's Day. I don't. What I do for Valentine's Day, like I'm gonna make a nice dinner for my kids. I'm gonna bake tomorrow, and then I'm gonna do like a self love ceremony for myself. But yeah, but even when I was like married or in relationships, because I've been single for years now, by choice. I never really celebrated like Valentine's Day like that. I feel like if you love me, you need to love me all year round, not just once a year. And that's okay, girl, because let me tell you something. A lot of people who say they happily married ain't happily married, okay? And some people only get love once a year. I feel like this. If you my person, you need to love me all year round, okay? Not just one day, like all the time. And a lot of times the reason why I don't read professionally on Valentine's Day is because it's also a day that people get depressed if they're in a current relationship they're not happy in, or helps, or they see the flaws in their relationship, or they're single and they're sad about being single. So the energy will be so like the only time I ever read professionally when I first started doing readings, it was so bad. I literally ended, because I used to work on the psychic hotline then. I ended up logging off early that night and got a full on panic attack because the energy was so like intense, you know? And it was too much, like as much as I always say, like I learned how to be a professional reader on a psychic hotline. One thing I didn't like, I didn't have control like over who goes on the website and book the reading, because the readings were live. And I saw a lot of like exploitation, especially when it came to love readings. Like the reader would tell you what you want to hear so they could keep like milking you for money. And a lot of people would jump from reader to reader, and let's say they got really bad readings prior to you, they already came with that like anxiety, that intense, that so it was just too much for me. So I was like, I'm never working on Valentine's Day, because a lot of people have little mental breakdowns on those days because they're so unhappy, so but you have to first learn how to love yourself so that you can attract the right person, whether you're in a relationship or not, so we have to love ourselves first. We have to nurture ourselves first. We have to work on us first sometimes. So, yep, that's what I'm doing too. I'm making a Valentine's Day cake for the kids, and I make from scratch like chicken Alfredo. Like I even make the sauce and everything from scratch. So I'm making fettuccine Alfredo with chicken, and then I'm also making a Valentine's Day cake. Yes, self-love first. I'm telling you. And to be honest, and we also have to normalize that too. People like me, I realize I am not made for marriage. While I respect the institution of marriage, I myself am not made for marriage. I love doing love readings. I do love spells. I do all the things. But me, honestly, am not someone who wants to ever be married. And it's not because I'm traumatized. It's because I just don't want to be married. I also don't want to live with somebody if I'm involved with them romantically. I realize that I don't like traditional relationships for myself. So, but I respect anybody who wants that. But I'm like, I have the kids that I have, and that's good enough for me. But if I ever like get into a long term relationship, we're not getting married, and we ain't living together, because I just like my freedom. And I like to be individual. When I was married, we became like a one person, and I don't like that. So I realized it wasn't for me. So, and believe me, shamanic Arawak priestess has been proposed to many times. I no, But being a mother, yes. And if I ever get married, we're living in two separate houses, for real, for real. But yeah, I like having the bed to myself. I like to have the closet to myself. I like to leave my house when I feel like it. I like to spend money how the hell I want to spend it. I don't want to. Oh, I don't think it. Who you talking to? So it's just like I like my independence. So I realized, in this whole like after I got divorced and then I went into the other relationship and the engagement and all that. I realized that that just wasn't for me. If that makes sense, because yes, my first marriage was not healthy, but the second one was healthier, but he wanted what I didn't want, which he wanted the marriage and all this. I didn't really want that. Does that make sense? I'm not saying he was perfect, but um no. Yes, exactly. And we need to normalize that not everybody wants to or is in a conventional relationship. There are people that are monogamous and that's wonderful and they believe in the institution of marriage and all the beautiful things. But there's people like me that just kind of want to be independent. I want, if I ever get romantically involved with somebody, I want somebody to go on dates with. Like I want the whole like boyfriend or girlfriend or partner experience, right? But I don't want the you in my face all the time. I want my space. I want to like visit you in your house. You know what I'm saying? Have the romantic dinner, go out on the movies, go on trips together, miss the person. I don't want to cohabitate with you you know? And then like me and my kids have our routine. So it's like I don't want you around my kids like that. Like I'm already used to doing me right now. So it's just like I've been single. I think I've been single like 5, 6 years, guys. I've been single for 5, 6 years. Like I'm good. We are good here. I've been single for a long time. I went on a whole like self-love journey because in my two long-term relationships, I lost myself. And then culturally, right? I'm from the Caribbean, right? It's all about your husband and marriage and babies. My mom was already wanting grandkids. I was like, I'm not even a full on adult yet, mom. Hold on a second. So I grew up in that culture. The husband, subservient, be a good Caribbean wife, blah, 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 all the things. And so that's how I grew up. So, but then when I started discovering myself, that doesn't resonate with me. I respect it, but it doesn't resonate for me. And I think like sometimes we have to start being more honest with ourselves. It's not for every woman. And again, there's people that are polyamorous. They have, they can love more than one person. Like there's so many different types of families and relationships. Like we need to normalize that too. And then there's people like me that likes to just be alone. And that's okay too. She said, I always think how I would want my partner to have their own place and even room. Okay, but I'm Brujita ain't playing. She said, I love my own. I like, She's like, that's what I want. I like my own company too. Exactly. Because guys, I have tried today. I have tried to do all the things and it just I end up blocking people and it's not nice. Or I end up like, I'm not into you, too into me. Like it's too much. Like how you love me, you met me 2 days ago. Like it's just too much. And I don't know. I feel like the more I don't want somebody, I don't know if that's like you could relate to that, but it seems like now that I don't want the conventional marriage thing anymore, or whatever, like to be single, it's like men are more persistent. I want to marry you. I want to do all this stuff for you. I'm like, exactly. It's like what is going on right now? They want to do all this stuff. I'm like, no. And then they don't believe me. I'm like, I really don't. All women want to do that. I'm like, well, I guess I'm not all women because I'm good. We are good over here. you know but for those of you that are looking for love and all that stuff, like I literally send you good and positive energy. My best advice is work on yourself, because then you're going to attract a more high vibrational person and you're going to have the more ideal relationship that you want. But just know that even if you're single, you by yourself are worth everything. Okay, you are worth everything. Whether you're partnered or unpartnered, you are worth everything. Okay, just know that. So don't be sad on Valentine's Day. Do something for yourself. Do buy yourself something nice. Be your own Valentine, you know? Yes. Okay, girl. That's what I'm talking about. Okay. Pamper yourself, Miss Lena. Pamper yourself, Miss Lena. Okay. Yes. Buy yourself something. That's right. She likes self love. Okay, girl. Okay. Get it. Get it. Get it. Get it. Hey, hey. She gonna make me twerk on the live stream. What are we doing right now? Very true. I definitely have to get back to me. Yes. So, have I ever worked with St. Valentine's? That's a good question. Yes, that's the other thing too. People say Valentine's Day, but it's actually Valentine's Day is the feast day of St. Valentine, which is the saint of love. Okay, he is the saint of love. Okay, have I ever personally worked with him? No. Do I know people that have worked with St. Valentine's? Yes. Now, for me on Valentine's Day, okay, what I actually do is I give something. So tomorrow I said I'm gonna do a ritual. Any of my spirits that are love spirits, I would give them something. So I'll, either bake a cake. So I'm gonna bake a cake tomorrow. So I'm gonna make sure I give them their offering, maybe some libation. Champagne is very romantic. Things like that. Whether I'm asking them to give me self love, or you can even ask tomorrow for like St. Valentine or any love spirits that you have. Please bless my love life. Or maybe there's someone that you know that maybe they don't have good luck in love. That's the perfect time to give some type of a physical offering to love spirits and ask them to act on your behalf. So that's what I'm gonna be doing tomorrow. I'm gonna be doing rituals. I'm gonna be giving offerings to my love spirits. So you can definitely do that because it's like for Haitians, right? In America, right? When you think of St. Patrick's Day, what's the first thing that comes to your head? Just I want you guys to chat to type the answer. When you think of St. Patrick's Day, be honest, what is the first thought that comes to your mind? Because they'll say, oh, it's St. Patrick's Day. Green. Okay, that's good. We're gonna play Let's Answer the Question. That was way. Yes, Brown Burrita, exactly. And I would, so when you're doing like a love ritual, leprechauns and bears, okay, okay. Four leaf clover and the leprechaun, all right, all right. Yeah, you could even, what I do too, because it's a sweetening ritual or sweetening ceremony, you are allowed to eat with the spirits. So you can give them their portion first, and you can take one of those heart cupcakes and eat it because you're putting love energy into it. So you're ingesting love. So you can do something like that. Okay, Maria, that's the answer I was waiting for. She said drinking. That's the first thing I think about too. Okay. St. Patrick's Day has become like the Cinco de Mayo, where in America, non-Irish people, okay, they're getting drunk, they're getting shit faced, excuse my language. They're doing their thing, right? They're doing their thing. Let's keep it 100, right? They're getting drunk. What the thing? They forget that St. Patrick's Day is actually supposed to be a religious holiday for the Catholic Church. It's St. Patrick's Day, right? In Haiti, right? St. Patrick's Day is celebrated as the feast day of Don Balahuevo, right? He is one of the few Loas that does not like alcohol. So for me and my culture, it's an actual like spiritual day, and I do not partake in any alcohol since I've been practicing Haitian voodoo. So I can't drink on that day. I used to do it back in them days, but for me, I have to separate myself from that because he doesn't like alcohol. So it's more of his feast day. And Dambala's in charge of like enhancing your spiritual health and all that kind of stuff. Like he's a very powerful spirit. So that day is like separated for him. I remember one time I forgot it was St. Patrick's Day, and it was not a cute thing. Like it was not a good day. Put it that way. I was like, oh yeah, oops, I'm not supposed to be drinking today. But yeah, basically, so for us, it's a day to not drink alcohol. Even though if you go to the Haitian voodoo ritual, we drink alcohol, we do libations most of the time, but that feast day for them is it's more aligned with the Catholic Church where it's like a holy day, you know. So yeah. But if you think about Christmas, Christmas is also a feast day because I know, Santa Claus, whatever the case may be, but Santa Claus is actually a saint. Like the original meaning of Santa Claus is Saint Nicholas. It's the day of the patron saint of children. So on Christmas, right, when the spirits wake up again, I do give Saint Nicholas an offering because he is the patron saint of children. Um, Saint Nicholas, right, a Greek saint, he actually paid like money for like a dowry. I was trying to think of the name in English for when like these two young girls, because they had this practice where like if your parents couldn't pay dowry, they'll force you to be nuns or they'll force you to do this and that and the other. So like he protected young women from like being forced into stuff because he was a religious person. Like he literally gave all his fortune to the less fortunate. Saint Nicholas did. So, people forget about that on Christmas. Like there's an actual saint behind Christmas. No, alcohol does not lower your frequencies. No. In my the thing is, it's just that that particular loa does not like blood or alcohol. So it's more of a respect thing, right? It's like if it's your birthday and you're like, girl, I don't want to eat fish, like you have an allergy to fish or you have an aversion to fish. I'm not going to make a dinner on your birthday. Be like, girl, we're gonna eat. We're gonna have a fish fry. Yeah, yeah. And then Lena's like, but I don't like fish. I don't like the smell of fish. It makes me sick to my stomach. Alcohol makes it like he doesn't like it. So it's just more of like a respect thing because in my practice, there are many loas and orishas that like alcohol. So there are times that we'll drink wine with them or we'll drink rum with them. We'll smoke with them. Okay, the cannabis question. There are certain specific spirits that like that too. So it just depends on the specific spirits, if that makes sense, and what they like. Because the feast day is like a birthday, right? It's your day. They're getting lit. For example, when I allow the members to partake in Fegede, anybody who's taking, I'm drinking in Fegede. Like, spirits are doing what they're gonna do because that's what they like. So the ceremony or the ritual is catered to what the spirits like. That's why I'm doing classes because they have certain specific offerings that they like, certain specific types of music, certain types of colors. Like it's a whole thing. But yeah, it depends on the spirit. It's what they like. He just does not like alcohol, and he doesn't like blood. He has an aversion to blood. Because he's kind of like, I'm trying to think what I could correlate it with. He's like the spirit of God, so that's why he takes white, and so like that. He's like a like that kind of spirit. So he's a Rada spirit. Like and with the Orishas, I can say like Obatala doesn't like alcohol either, but also Shango doesn't like alcohol and he doesn't like cigars. So there's just, so if it's his feast day, I'm not gonna blow cigar in his face because he doesn't like that. So it's more of like a respect thing. Hello, Lost Yellow Ranger. How are you? Love and light, love, light, and blessings. We were talking about our holiday plans for St. Valentine's Day and all that beautiful stuff, and what our plans are, and what we're planning to do, and all those good things. You're doing good? That's good. I like candy. Nothing wrong with candy, long lost ranger. There is nothing wrong with candy. Nothing wrong with that at all. I'm just having coffee. I know it's like 9:21 at night, but we're gonna be okay. He's the LOL. I was gonna make that video today, but like I said, I lost my power, like my electricity and my gas. So I wasn't able to make the videos. Okay. I wasn't able to make the videos and everything like that. So yeah, I didn't get to record today. Today was like a day that was spent trying to get my power back on, my gas back on. But it did make me read books. Okay. I did start reading a new book today, which I'm going to be doing a book review on before the end of this month. So yeah, we're okay now, honey. So I have a book that I found. It's by a black author, so I will be reviewing that on my channel this month. Let you know what I think. No, the storm is over now. It started like before the sun came out. Like I woke up to like just covered in snow. And then, girl, me too. Me too. I'd be like, oh, I can't sleep, but I drank like 20 cups of coffee. Like, be so for real. But the storm lasted until like 12:30, 1 o'clock. But what happened was like around 9 a.m. ish my time, the power went completely out because they told the kids, hey, we're going to be doing the iPads and we're going to be doing, virtual school because they closed the schools down. But we ended up losing power. So, and the losing power somehow affected the gas line. So, like, I didn't notice because it wasn't that cold until like once the lights came on, like the thermostat kept dropping, and I'm like, but the heat's on. And it started getting cold in here. So I called the gas company. They came down, they did what they had to do. They got it going back on again. Then, but I went like 4 hours or so without power. So it kind of sucked. I had laundry to do. That's what you hear the dryer in the background. Like I had laundry to do. I'm like, come on now, kids got to get school clothes going. So it was just so annoying. I actually feel that power outages and blackouts and internet and stuff is also spiritual. Okay, trust me on that. I feel it's spiritual. Like y'all can say whatever y'all want, but that whole mall thing in Florida or whatever. Come on now. I feel like there was really aliens in that mall. I don't care. I believe in aliens. Okay, and I feel like that's why our internet and all that stuff is happening. Okay, I feel like it's spiritual. I feel like there's something going on with the spirits, other dimensions and all. I feel like there's a spiritual meaning behind all this like weird stuff. Because I've had 4 outages in like the past year, which is not common. And I'm like, okay. Oh yes, because let me tell you something. And people could think whatever they want to think about me is whatever. I just keep it real with myself. Like if you're from the Caribbean, because I've had Trinidadians tell me this too. So not just Haitians. Certain Caribbean islands know that mermaids and sirens are real. Like there's people in the Caribbean that have actually seen mermaids and sirens, and some of them like sirens can be kind of dangerous and so can merfolk because a lot of them like to lure people. Like there's actual people that have gone missing in the oceans because of how they sing and they lure you in there and all these things. I work myself with mermaid spirits. I work with both mermaids and siren. What do you think, like in the Caribbean, when it's their feast day, they go out to the ocean and they give them live offerings, flowers, animals, whatever, and they feed the oceans because it's just like indigenous people of the past that would, give offerings to the spirits of volcanoes. It's the same thing. Like those things are real. It's true. I'm telling you, it's real. Yes. I was always told never to completely immerse myself in water. Like, so basically, like, go all the way under the sea. You know what I'm saying? I was always told never to do that, never to go into the sea by myself. If someone's calling, like, if you hear somebody calling your name, but there's nobody there, don't be answering that. Okay. Mm-hmm. But you know, also what you're not supposed to do, and a lot of people do it, whistling in the woods at night. Don't do that. Yeah, see? Thank you for sharing that. Thank you for sharing that, guys. That's why we give, we know, like La Serena literally has been known to lure people and they go missing, like, because she does that. Just because we work with her don't mean we don't know she do things. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? So we don't be going to the ocean, be like, here's your stuff, spirit. Okay. It does, because hold on a second. Okay. Let me get my protection, then we could talk about it. Okay. Okay. All right, now back to the story. Okay, hold on. Let's get it. Okay, now, okay, okay. So basically, there's these things. I'm not gonna say the name. I'm just gonna write it. Okay, this is what we call them. I'm gonna talk about it more on one of my videos, but okay, all right. That's what we call them. Okay. Mm-hmm. Read it there, right there, right there. Shematic typed it. Okay, I ain't saying it out loud. I was told never to say the name out loud. I could type it though. And what happens is these are spirits that never die. They're like tormented souls that walk the earth because they were such bad people that they were cursed with eternal life, right? And they come from very a lot of different tribes. Okay, so a lot of First Nations people, okay, believe in this spirit. There's another name for them too that you might know them better. Okay, we also call them these. So I'm sure you've heard of that term. So either two of the names is fine, right? Let me tell you, I've had an experience with them before. And, I have performed exorcisms. I have fought with very dark entities before. But nothing compares to what I felt when I had to help this First Nation person because they couldn't find access to a shaman. So the spirits, you cannot take that energy off of somebody in the same way. There is no psalms, there is no holy water, none of that works. Okay, there's no I rebuke you, there's no I'm calling upon, like, Jesus. There's none of that works. Like, you could do salt circles all day, like, none of that works. They only respect a actual shaman. I was able to take it out of said person, but it was a very, like, my whole body inside was shaking. And, deals were made, things were done. So never whistle late at night in a wooded area or by a cemetery. They don't play. Uh-uh. No es bueno. Yeah, there is no Psalms you could read that's going to help with that. A lot of times people mistake that for, like, oh, this person had a demonic possession. We just couldn't help them and the person passes away. A lot of times is that spirit actually not what they think it is. So I always say, even if you don't understand a culture, respect energies you don't understand and stop messing with stuff that you don't know what you're messing with. Okay. They look kind of human, but you could tell they're not human because they have a very eerie smile that goes from ear to ear. And if you see how they smile, it looks very evil. Like, I can't explain it. They attack you if you whistle. They attack you if so. First Nations people, some people will call them Native Americans, right? Um, because they were also enslaved, like the Africans they brought into the diaspora, right? They were enslaved. They were all like, they took over their lands, whatever. They sometimes had put curses on certain lands. So those spirits roam those lands. Do you get what I'm saying? So that's why you have to be careful where you step on, you know? At Junken in Puerto Rico, there's the rainforest in Puerto Rico. I went there and I only went there one time and I've never gone back because I'm very highly sensitive. I remember going there and hearing the screaming of the Taino people, like just piercing screaming of like people that are tortured. And I saw restless souls. And I was like, I'm way too like it was so strong that I like fell to my knees. Like it was too intense. Like it's beautiful and everything, but I didn't go there no more. You know what I mean? I was like, we gotta go. So because there was a lot of genocide that went on around that time. So there's certain parts even of the Caribbean that people don't go to. There's parts in the United States that people don't go to. And don't think it was just First Nation people. There are people of African descent, our ancestors as well, that cursed certain lands because of how they were treated. And so if you step foot, it's like sometimes somebody will buy a house and they don't know the history of the house. And they're like, I don't know why, but like, I think somebody hexed me. No, sometimes it's because the land in which your home sits may have a generational curse in it. And you have your ancestors that are in tranquil spirits. You should not be doing love spells with them. These are tormented souls, right? That don't find any rest. So they don't like that you're in their land. They're like, get out of here. You know what I mean? So a lot of times it's not that you are possessed or that somebody hexed you. Sometimes it's the home the home where your land sits, right? So that's why it's important when you're buying a house or whatever, research the address and look up old newspaper clippings. Some people have bought homes and didn't know that a mass murder happened in their house, all of that stuff has energy. All of that stuff has energy. The land has energy, right? And so, like, for instance, this house sits on a slant. Like, my house sits on a slant, like, it's on a certain position if you believe in feng shui or whatever. So I knew in order for me to live here, the land wasn't cursed, but because of how the house is positioned, I had to ask the permission of the land spirits if I'm allowed to be here. They say yes, as long as you do A, B, C, and D, and you respect this, and this, and that part of the land, we good. And so that's what I do. That's what my backyard isn't very backyarding, but there's a reason for that. You know what I mean? So, and there's certain protocols that I did with the spirits of the land that I'm not going to share because that's between me and the spirits, that only good spirits are allowed to be here, and the ones that are low vibrational, they kind of just, they're dormant, and that's just what it is. So every property, every land, everything has energy. That's why I said in my other apartment that I was renting, I saw Harriet Tubman. And then I found out that that house was part of the Underground Railroad because the Underground Railroad was in Pennsylvania too. So there was a lot of abolitionists, and I didn't know this history until I saw her, and I was like, "Who the lady?" Because she looked so real. So and I didn't even know the history of that house. But that house also had a lot of weird energy because of certain things that happened. So that's how I learned. You learn from trial and error. I learned that I have to research the home that I live in. One, because I'm a medium, anyways, and two, because you don't want to live in a home that they don't want you there. You know what I mean? What's the point of that? And then you're gonna always have bad luck. You're never gonna have no money. You know what I mean? So it's important to know the history. And if you recognize spirits and make deals with them, a lot of times they go away and they leave. But if you just go in there remodeling and doing all this stuff, then they feel disrespected. See, that's what she was saying too. She said reminds me of a Lake Lanier. The story of Lake Lanier is so intense. Can't believe people still, because people don't respect stuff. People do not respect stuff. There's a certain part of Pennsylvania that, like, my ex-husband and I don't drive through because people have had the worst accidents there, and they say that it is actually cursed because the town is named after a Native American chief. There are no First Nations people in that town. They literally massacred the person and then named the town after them. And the majority of the people in that town are of European descent. There's no minorities there. And there's a certain road that bad things happen. You understand what I'm saying? So it's kind of like, nah. Mm-hmm. So, and things happen because people don't. It's like the Bermuda Triangle. I actually believe in the Bermuda Triangle. I believe there's some kind of energy there, and they don't want people passing around a certain area. Does that make sense? So it's kind of like, just, you got to respect certain energies. People don't do that. That's why that woman who tried to conjure up laws ended up, passing away, because she was messing with energies that she doesn't understand. You can't just go around disturbing things, messing with stuff, disturbing, like the Fae, they're real. Like the Fae are real. Okay, the fays are not these little fairies that look cute and everything. They really are their own energy. You understand what I'm saying? And when people do all this stuff and deface and disrespect the land and stuff, like, then you have certain things that happen, like the panini, but the panini, I can't say the word because of YouTube, but if you know what the panini is, they locked us up for almost 2 years. It was the earth's way of protecting itself, right? Because we were destroying the earth. You know what I'm trying to say? It's like a dog, when he gets fleas, he's gonna shake them off. Come on now. Oh, that's scary. Yeah, they're not cute. I heard the Fae are not cute. Like, I felt them before, but they're not like, you know, Tinkerbell looking. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Got you. Mm, mm. Okay, I'm done with the coffee now. Sorry. I cannot live without my cafe butelo. Okay, sorry. I can't do any like Folgers. It has to be Cafe Butelo. Oh my goodness. That's not good. Yeah, it see, like those type of spirits that we don't know what they are is very scary. I'm not gonna sit here and lie to you. It can be very scary. Yep. Because a lot of people can see stuff. It's just that a lot of people turn that ability off because they're afraid of it. Yeah, it might be Jamaica because I've never heard of the Curse Bridge. Excuse me. Now I gotta look up the Curse Bridge. Now you're gonna make me look up stuff, okay? But I worked in a nursing home that was haunted. Like I said before, I worked in a nursing home where the second floor of the facility was completely closed off because there was this spirit that kept, like, people would see this lady and then they would all of a sudden pass away within the same amount of days, and patients that were comatose would end up like pushed off the bed, but nobody pushed them. Like, it was very eerie. So that floor, the facility was open on the first floor, the third floor, but that second floor, like, nobody. And it's crazy because like all the nurses aid, whatever, because I remember working there when I used to be a nurse. And I was like, whatever. And I remember they needed something on the second floor, nobody wanted to get it, so I got it. It felt eerie because they literally left that second floor intact. Like, it literally had some people's personal items in there, drawings from grandkids. Like, when I say that they ran with those patients to the first and third floor and closed off that second floor forever, I'm not exaggerating. Like, they left medical equipment, brand new medical equipment intact there. It really did look like a scary movie. I'm like, wow, they're really scared of that whatever. So and it felt weird because that second floor, right? You ever seen those scary movies where, like, their lights be kind of funny? They're kind of like, they go on and off, and they're kind of like, even when they're on, they're kind of like, I don't know how to explain it. Like, they're kind of like not all the way on, like they flicker, like the lights were flicking. And I was like, I'm gonna get out of here. I'm gonna get whatever she said to get, and then I'm gonna leave. Yeah, see, the first time she saw a spirit is when she was young and killed a wasp. I watched his white spirit float upwards and through the ceiling. Lord, I was stunned into silence. I don't blame you, sis. That's the thing though, like young people and children, like all children and like have the ability to see stuff. Like children can see things that adults can because they are more like innocent. It's we teach them to fear those things. You know what I mean? Like we teach them to fear the unknown. Because I talk to a lot of kids, a lot of parents, like, oh, my child saw this, that. And we teach people to fear it and they shut it off. Because kids have this connection to spirit, they do. hmm She said, I'm not going to lie, it makes me want to volunteer in hospice. I'm fascinated by what I may see and sense. Make sure if you're going to volunteer in hospice that you open a window when someone passes away so their soul can leave. I always did that. And I always closed the eyes. You don't want to leave no stagnant energy. Have any of you ever seen like someone when they pass away, you could still see their actual spirit still lingering? That happened with my ex mother in law. Like she passed away, and I remember like hearing somebody call my name, and I looked out the window, and she was like floating, walking in a white gown, just like on in the park across the street from the building that she lived in. I was like, "Hey, girl." Yeah, I don't blame you. Oh no. She said she had she used to see things as a kid. S- Sleep paralysis can be very traumatizing. See, her dad came to her before he passed away. It was like, "Hey, girl." Yeah, but no, sleep paralysis is scary, 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 beyond scary, guys. It's too much. It's too much. Well, I'm gonna be honest. I was always taught you shouldn't sleep in complete darkness, anyways. So I have. I'll show you. I'm gonna unplug it, Evie. I like to have these little I think it's for Bath and Body Works. These have night lights in it. So I, do my plug-in thing. And it has like a little night light, or I'll have like a sea salt lamp on or something. I don't sleep in complete darkness. If you're someone who can tap into the spirit realm, so if you've ever seen a spirit, whatever, you actually should not be sleeping in the complete darkness. That can actually attract negative stuff. So even a dim night light, because even my kids too, like they have night lights. Everybody in my house does, because you should never be in complete darkness. Oh, that's sad. Yeah, see, she doesn't sleep in the darkness either. I'm gonna be honest, okay? I am obsessed with Halloween. I watch scary movies with my kids. The difference is, right? Because your eyes are the windows to your soul. If I'm gonna watch a scary movie with the childrens, we pray before we go to bed, and we don't give into that. Like I always say to the kids, like I'll teach them, like, that only happened to them because they don't practice what we practice, and they don't pray to their guardian angel, and they don't pray to their spirits. But just know that no matter how evil that is, we work with stronger spirits, right? Because the whole thing about why I say it opens a door to your soul, and the eyes are the windows to your soul, is because what these spirits feed off, and I tell this to people all the time, a lot of these human spirits or whatever, is fear. The more they know you fear them, the more powerful they become. They feed on negative emotions, okay? Self-loathe, hate, arguments, so on and so forth. So as long as you know that you are protected, that you have a relationship with your guardian angels, that you pray to your deities or whatever the case may be, you should be fine. If I feel that a movie's too negative, I might sage after I watch it or something, or do some type of smoke cleanse or whatever. But I don't feed into the fear of it. If anything, like I watch them and I'm like, see, this is so great. Like I love watching the Conjurer movies, like The Conjuring. I've watched like all of those movies, because I'm very fascinated by that couple. One was an exorcist, the other one was a medium, and I've actually done that myself in real life. So it's a way for me to teach the kids, like, hey, I do things like this too. When I used to, travel to do exorcisms and all this kind of stuff. So, for me, that's part of my life. Remember, my kids are living in a house where doors open by themselves. My kids have seen shadow people, little kids walking around, they see me possessed, blah, 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 blah. So to my kids, it's normal, but I always tell them, like, don't give in to negative spirits. So they'll say that when they watch a movie, like, but that's not going to happen to us because mama said blah, 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 blah. So as long as you're not allowing it to hinder you, or that's when you need to cut it off. If it's actually causing you to be fearful, if it's actually causing you to attract negative spirits, then I wouldn't watch them. But if you're someone that's like, this is just a movie, the spirits got me, blah, 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 then you should be fine. What I don't recommend, and I will never recommend, are those YouTube videos where people secretly record rituals that they shouldn't be posting online, because people are getting possessed with stuff and you don't know if they're authentic practitioners or not, right? You don't really know what they're conjuring up. You might unintentionally be like, oh my God, this great voodoo ritual on the thing, this person got possessed with this, or this person. You may have a chance of getting something attached to you that may not be what you think it is. So that is a little bit different. Yes, folks are actually posting those online. Yes, 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 long lost ranger, because we're in the age of social media. And some people post them because they want to sell their services. I don't do that. But what they're not understanding is, if someone isn't trained in Loa or Orisha, something unintentional might come in through that video, right? And I've had clients, because they watched the video, whatever, that I've actually had to cleanse them and do all these things. I've had clients that played with the Ouija board and something happened to them. I've had clients that went to a cemetery because they thought they saw a video on people praying to ancestors in a cemetery, and something attached themselves to it because they didn't do the protocols that you're supposed to do when you go into a cemetery. So, the growth of spirituality on social media is a double-edged sword. It's awesome because people are exposed to different cultures, but it's also scary because being exposed to different cultures, right, makes people do things they wouldn't ordinarily do. And the people that post them, they're not really posting things responsibly, right? And then people don't know any better, so they're just, they want to be witchy, they want to be spiritual, but they're not knowing that they're putting themselves in danger. Like I said, I knew somebody who did that, and somebody in their family got possessed really bad, where I actually had to come and days of exorcism. Like this person almost passed away. So you just never know, because they were conjuring things they didn't know. They went to a cemetery. Like, you can pick up any type of spirit from a cemetery. I don't believe in the practice of just gathering random cemetery dirt from random grave sites, because you don't know if that family you're picking up dirt from, if they were witches too. I know that in my family, if they pick up dirt from my family, I literally curse that dirt. That if anybody uses that outside of our family, you're gonna get what you're gonna get. And there's a lot of people like me, okay? So if you never notice, like in the Caribbean, have you ever noticed their cemetery is concrete, is cement? That's for a reason. Okay, because you have people like me get that cemetery dirt and see what's going to happen to you. So just so you know what I'm saying. So go look at the Caribbean. There's plenty of Caribbean islands with concrete cemeteries. They don't let you get the dirt. Okay, so let's just keep it 100%. All right, that's for a reason. That is for a reason. Oh, I watch I do watch like paranormal stories too. I like to listen to people's experience. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I also watch it sometimes and I don't know if you do that when you watch something, I'll be talking to the person, but girl, why aren't you contracting a priest? Why aren't you getting a shaman? Why aren't you yelling at the spirits for it to leave? Da 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 da. You know what I mean? So it's, I be like talking to I'm like, they're not hearing you on the other side of the TV. So yeah, I do watch that too. I do. Exactly. So I like watching those too. There was this really good one. I don't remember the name of it. It was very different. I'll try to see if I can find it one day. Maybe I'll Google it or something. But it was a paranormal series, but it was the most different type. They reminded me more of how I do things. So there's people that they'll have like these fancy machines and they'll play it back and they do videotapes and all that. And they'll be like, oh my goodness, look at it. But I'm not that type of exorcist, right? I'm not that type of, that's not how I paranormally investigate things. I connect to the spirit in the home. I directly talk to them, like I don't use equipment. So there was this show that really made me feel, representation matters, right? It made me feel seen because it was a show of First Nation people, aka Native American people, right? From a specific tribe, I can't remember, and they were paranormal investigators, right? But they weren't using like all those things. Like they had an actual, real, authentic medicine man that went with them, and he would do certain things. Like some things he would do off camera, and some things he'll allow us to watch. And it was so nice because it was like that's how I do stuff too. So it was like really, really nice. I like watching that one because I've never seen like a paranormal investigative team full of like brown people. So I was like, this is and First Nation people. Like, come on now. So I like watching that show, but again, I don't remember the name of it because I had saw it one. I have Prime Videos. It was like on a Prime Video thing. Like, if you like this, watch that. Because I used to watch a lot of like paranormal stories and all that. So yeah, so I gotta go look it up one day to see if it's still on. I think it has a couple of seasons or something, but yeah, that one is good. If I find the name of it, I'll recommend it to you guys. Maybe I'll put it on the community post or something. I highly recommend because that's more of the way I communicate with spirits. I communicate with them directly. Like they communicate with me telepathically, and I communicate with them. So I don't know anything about like sound boxes or what. I don't do that. Like I just talk to them. Like I said today, I went to sleep and the spirits talk to me directly. So I don't use like I'll use tools for people, but I told you why. It's kind of like because I don't want to get fully possessed by spirits when I do a reading. A lot of people that scares them. So I always want to like, I'm in America, right? But as far as like me with the spirits, like I'll go to sleep or they'll telepathically talk to me. So I don't use any intercessors when communicating with them. Like they communicate directly to me. That wasn't always like that, but as you are in a path, you start to evolve more and more. So they now it's just like I'll go to sleep and they'll tell me exactly what I need to do, or I'll be sitting in my spirit room in ritual and they'll tell me what to do. I don't need to like read for myself, if that makes sense. Is there a difference between a shaman and a medium? Um, a medium is somebody who talks to spirits, right? Um, and that's all it is. Somebody who talks to spirits, right? I'm a medium, but it's not exactly the same thing as a shaman. A shaman, or correct, shaman is kind of a American term to be honest with you. They're actually medicine people, okay? But I use that term because you know how like so they have medicine man, medicine woman, that kind of thing. Um, people have called them shamans now, right? But it's kind of like For me to explain what a mambo is, I have to use the term high priestess. For me to say, I'm doing a ritual or working, right? Un trabajo, which is a working, I have to use words that are more common in America, which would be spells, because that's how most people know it, right? But I never used that in my vocabulary until I became a professional reader, because a lot of people, if I say ritual, they don't know what that means. So that's why my website says ritual and then parentheses spell work, because you have to also adapt to the culture that you're in, so people can understand what you're trying to say. So they use the term shaman, but it's actually medicine people, and that's what they are. They're medicine people. They are like spiritual doctors. They know how to work with herbs. They also know how to talk to, like, not just dead people, but like actual entities and spirits, right? So it is different. A medium might just contact somebody, but a shaman, because they're a healer, they're going to offer you things like, maybe you need to do a crossing over ceremony. Maybe you need to drink this herbal drink. So it's more than just contacting a spirit. Yes, they have mediumship abilities, but it's much more than that. A medicine person is equal to high priestess of a religion, right? They're the elders. They're the ones that you go to for all your spiritual ailments, right? It's the same thing as in root work. You will go to your conjurer, your root worker, right? It's the same thing as in voodoo. You'll go to your mambo, hugan, your bokul, right? These are people that are initiated into a religion. They're the leader. So in Christianity, that will be your pastor or your priest, things like that, or in Judaism, that'll be your rabbi. That's what a medicine person is. They are the elder, they are the leader in that spirituality. They're the ones that counsel the tribe, right? So you may have other people that can talk to spirits, but that's like the leader. That's your mambo, that's your hugan. That's what that is. Oh yeah, of course. So a lot of people mistakenly call themselves shaman. I've noticed that, but they're really not shamans, because if you have not been initiated into a First Nation religion, you cannot call yourself a leader of a religion. Does that make sense? Because that will be like someone saying, "I'm a mambo," and they never even, you know what I mean? They don't even practice voodoo. Like, what? And nobody initiated you. Like, you can't just appropriate titles. You know what I mean? You could say, and I noticed that a lot in like the spiritual community with these shaman decks and stuff. I actually find that highly offensive, because you cannot give yourself a title that does not belong to you. Does that make sense? Like, you can't just say, I'm the leader of a religion, and they'll be like, yeah, I practice shamanism. I'm like, what are you talking? You practice healing. You may practice herbal medicine, but you cannot say that you are a shaman. You cannot say that. You cannot say that you're a medicine person if you didn't grow up in the culture and you weren't accepted by that specific tribe. That doesn't make sense. The show is called Living for the Dead. It is an LG. Ooh. Okay, thank you. So does that make sense? So that's what that is. Because First Nation spirituality are closed practices, and stuff like that. So I call myself a shaman because I am a shaman. Like, I actually, you guys, that's what is shamanic Arawak priestess. My name was given to me by the spirits because I do practice Taino spirituality, but I've said this before. My father is 100% American Indian. My father was from a reservation. So there's things that I practice with him that I don't share on YouTube, because it's just, those spirits don't want me to. So I was given the title of a medicine woman from that. That's why I call myself shamanic, right? Arawak from the Tainos, but I do have American Indian in me too. And then priestess is to claim my blackness from my mother, because I am a priestess in Haitian voodoo. I am a priestess in Santeria, right? I am a Santera because I am initiated, right? I'm crowned. And I'm also initiated in Haitian voodoo. Therefore, I am a mambo. So those three things that is the name that the spirit gave me to go by. That's my spiritual name given to me by my spirits. It has a meaning to it. Yeah, that's true. So hopefully that makes sense. She said, exactly. You can't share everything. No, I only like the only time I don't share something if it's my spirits don't want me to, then I don't. But if they let me share a little bit, then I do. Does that make sense? It's always like I have to, the spirits have to give me permission. But one thing about me, and I want to make this very clear, I do not prefer one of my cultures over the other, right? I do not. Because a lot of times I'll have people like, oh, yeah, you look very Native American, right? And I actually have more Black ancestry. I do have a good amount of Native American ancestry, but I have more Black ancestry than I have Native American ancestry. Whether you think I look like it or I don't, I know who I am. Okay. So I claim both of them equally, is why I say I'm mixed, because I'm just as proud of my Black heritage as I am of my First Nation heritage, because both of those things make me myself. So I don't prefer one over the other. You know what I mean? I think it's beautiful, both of them. If you are practicing more than one path, Maria, then okay. Crowning is specific to religions like Santeria. Okay. In Voodoo, we call it something else. I have specific Orisha, and then I have specific Loa, because those are two different religions. Okay. So that's, you have to keep that separate, if that makes sense. And hopefully that answers the question better. Nowadays, because of the availability of information that shouldn't be made available, a lot of spiritualists like myself, we are um, initiated in various traditions for protection reasons. So whereas before it was like, oh, you're one thing and that's it. Nowadays is a little bit different, because the spiritual war be for real. So I remember, so I started off, I started off in a Piritismo. That was the first, and I've told that story, so I'm not going to repeat the story, but I started off there first. And that was the thing. And I was working with folk saints and all the things. And then as I evolved spiritually, well, no, that's a lie. Rewind. No, my mother got me crowned when I was little. I was little. It's because I used to see all these spirits and stuff. So I went to a santera and she did the things. But I was little. I don't know what she was doing. I was like, why I gotta wear this thing on my head? Like, why are you doing that to the chicken? Like, she wasn't explaining. So yeah. So that was the first one I was introduced to. But when I was an adult, I freely practiced espiritismo. Then I came back to Santeria, and evolved. And then the last one that, and then, in espiritismo, I was practicing both espiritismo. And then I found out later on that I was practicing hoodoo. Remember, I said I'm proud of my Black heritage. Okay. Hoodoo is a Black spiritual practice. Okay. So I was also practicing hoodoo. So, but separate, right? So then, I did the santeria and everything like that. But then it was like I couldn't grow anymore. And then that's when, I was called into voodoo and I got my godmother, and that's where I stayed, right? That's where I've stayed. But I have a background on all those things, okay? Then from Haitian voodoo, I had a Dominican godmother, okay? So she, when I was with my Haitian godmother, there were certain loa that would come, and then she was like, I'm not familiar with those loa, right? She had a best friend that was Dominicana. So she was like, no, those loas are from Santo Domingo. This is this spirit, that spirit, do da do da da. And so then I learned 21 divisions. So I was like, okay, but voodoo. So that's the one that I practice the most, I would say, would be voodoo. So yes. Yes. And the reason why she's like, a lot of Haitians, we practice Santeria, we practice da da da, and Dominicans will tell you the same thing. The reason why we initiate in Santeria, some people are follow this, that, the other, is because if someone drowns your head spirit from one path, you still have your backup spirits. Okay, that's gonna help you on drawing the other one. But if that's the only protection you got, I don't know what to tell you. So, especially if you're like a spiritualist, because there's a lot of competition. Spiritualists hex other spiritualists. It's crazy in these streets. They're literally like gangs. Okay, like I don't want to say it like that, but I'm saying it like that. It's kind of like, and you'll see this like in the Caribbean too. Like this practitioner works in this territory, and this one works over there, and you can't cross clients, so they'll hex each other. Blah 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 blah. So I don't do that because I don't do nothing to nobody unless they do it to me first. I just be minding my own business on these streets, but people would do things like that. So I just, I don't pay no mind. I just do my protections and keep it to myself. Hmm. Well, we call them sociedad, so society. We call them societies. Really, we don't really call them covens. We call them sociedades. Because they're more like a secret society, to be honest. And yes, secret societies be crazy up in here. Because coven is more like Wiccan, stuff like that. Hi, illuminated, love, light, and blessings. Welcome. But yeah, the secret societies. Okay, I'm gonna give you a perfect example of what they remind me of. Okay, and I'm not gonna tell you my opinion because I ain't gonna get doxxed up in these streets. Okay, but they remind me of like Stan Twitter or like fan bases. Like, I don't mess with the barbs, people. I do not mess with the barbs. Okay, let the barbs do what the barbs do. Let this whatever, you know what I'm saying. Let the beehive do what the beehive do. Like, I don't get involved. I'm like, I don't got no opinion. Leave me the heck alone. So that's what Haitian Voodoo societies remind me of, because you come after the Hugano Mambo, they will go after you and it will not be cute. So they remind me of like that. Like, they're very loyal to the spiritual leader. I don't mess with these fan bases these days. I don't got no time for that. I got no opinions. People like, oh, I'm like, I got nothing to say. No, girl, because I'm gonna have to go on a hexing party. Like, I don't got time. Okay, I don't got time. Um, that is a very good question, Trent. Depending on the practitioner, you're gonna have a different answer. Okay, and I'm gonna tell you because me, I'm gonna keep it real with you all day. Okay, all right. So, excuse me, my allergies. I'm a bless me. So I am a different type of practitioner, right? I do readings, rituals I do, but they're not like all I do, or they're not like, to be honest, I was very hesitant to do spell work for people, right? Because of like, it's a lot of work. But like rituals are not the main thing that I do, right? I do it for certain people, whatever the case. Maybe I have clients that pay me a certain amount of money every month so they could have ongoing rituals for various reasons, right? So I have those kind of clients that I'm constantly doing spells for them. I have a salary with them, and whatever. Okay. But, okay, the majority of what I do is readings. That is my bread and butter, right? So you have people that, they'll own a shop. Their goal is to sell you candles. I'm just being real with you. You ask me, I'm telling you. So their goal, that's not my goal. I don't sell no products, okay? And rituals are something that I hesitantly added after a while, and in my stuff, right? Because I know what it entails, right? There are people that all they do is spells, right? They don't really do readings. Their thing is to get as much money as from you as possible, right? And convince you that you are cursed. Most of the time, you're not. And they might even take your money and not do a damn thing with. They might not even light you a candle. If they do, they don't know what they're doing. Like, whatever. So they'll try to upcharge you. Like, rents these days are very expensive. Okay. So they'll be like, first person that comes into this door, okay, I'm gonna upsell them because I gotta pay my mortgage, I gotta pay my rent, I gotta pay my boom bam boom. So they are just going to sell you stuff. I had somebody tell me the other day, like, I had a reading and the lady's talking about giving me $3,000, and she's like, but I don't feel cursed. You know what I mean? So that's what they, which if somebody's charging you $3,000 for a spell, I don't know what kind of tools and equipment you're using, but run, don't walk, run. That's weird. But anyway, so basically, you know, their whole thing is to sell spells to you, right? Their whole thing is for you to buy products, right? The more products you buy, the more money they make. So it's not in their best interest for you to have the curse broken, because that's the only thing they get money from, right? You have a lot of people that own these shops too, that their bread and butter is initiating people. So they'll tell you anybody can be a priestess. You know, you might come to them for a cleansing. Oh, you should initiate yourself. You have to think about who's the messenger. They're saying that because their goal is to charge you thousands of dollars for a ceremony, right? But if you don't have the calling, right? If you don't have the ashe, which is the energy, you know, the life force of the spirit, or the calling, your initiation means bupkis. It means nothing. Okay, it's like someone going to, you know, I want to be say they don't really have a calling, but they're like, I want to marry God, so I'm going to become a nun, or I want to become a priest. But if that's not really their calling, they're not going to have that connection. Because I've seen people that have had all these ceremonies in my lifetime, and you know, as long as I've been on this path, and they can't manifest a damn thing. Okay, they will come to me because they can't even do a money spell. They'll come to me because they can't even break their own curses, but they've spent thousands upon thousands of dollars for titles, right? But then you'll see somebody with lesser titles that, like, they light you a candle, you're like, damn, you know what I mean? So because they don't have the calling, right? It's just like if you go to a church, right? You have people that have the gift of prophecy. Not everybody has the gift of prophecy. Not everybody in church can lay hands on somebody and heal that person. You understand what I'm saying? So if you don't have the calling, it's a waste of your money. I always tell people, first figure out if you have a calling and figure out what your path is, and then that will kind of do itself, right? There are plenty of people in Haiti who practice voodoo their whole life and have never been initiated into it. Okay, so they would just be called a voodoo sant, right? Because the knowledge was passed down orally, and but they, because they don't have a calling to do things for other people, they just do things for themselves. And therefore, like, because they grew up in the culture and they had somebody to teach them, they can just have a solitary practice. Initiation is more if you're trying to do stuff for other people, if you're trying to do this full time, if you feel like I have a calling to help all these people, you owe it to your clients to get initiated. Why? Because only in initiation will they give you the full power of the spirits, right? For example, years ago, right, I when I got initiated into Haitian voodoo, they gave me an oil that you cannot buy in any botanica. It's an oil that's specifically made to be received when you receive your spirits and their full potency, right? And that oil is only allowed to be made by mambos and hugans. It is a recipe that you do not share with anybody or nothing like that, okay? Haitian voodoo is very gatekeep. Haitians will gatekeep. They will own a botanica, because I've been to Haitian botanicas, and they look at you a certain way. Like, why are you buying that? They'll share the orishas with you, but when you buy something that they look like, what you, so what you know what I'm saying? That, you know, because I remember first going to a Haitian botanica, they vetted my butt too, and my godmother had to vouch for me. Okay, and that's a business, because they are very, they really do gatekeep Haitian food. And so it is what it is. They're like, no, she did. But you know, there are, and then even let's say the orishas, right? When you get initiated with the orishas, there are certain tools, there are certain things, right, that someone will receive. And it's not a saint statue. I'm gonna be real honest with you. The saint statue is a cover. There are certain items that one receives when they actually receive the orisha, because you receive the full power of the orisha. That is the difference between a solitary practitioner. And that is why I was called to make classes, because a lot of people have the misconception that you cannot pray to one's ancestor. Your ancestors are your birthright. That is your birthright, okay? That is your right to pray to them. However, there's a difference between praying to them on your own and then going and presenting yourself as an initiate, blah, blah, blah. That's different. Once you are in that realm where they're like, okay, now we want you to help other people, that is when one goes and prays for their godparent and does things the right way. Okay. Do you have to still go to countries that are no? It depends. And I'm going to tell you why. Okay. For my sociedad that I, was a part of, right? Now I have a calling to build my own. Spirit wants me to build my own sociedad for the practice of Haitian voodoo. Okay. That's why I made memberships, because I'm kind of trying to test that out a little bit. But basically, I've been called to kind of start my own thing, right? So, long story longer, okay? It depends on your madrina or your godparent, where their main house is, right? So, our main house is in Haiti, right? However, we also have a main house in Miami, Florida. When Haiti was going through what Haiti was going through and it wasn't safe to travel, you are allowed to then initiate in certain specific sacred sites in Florida. You know that Florida, they literally call it Little Haiti. So, you know what I'm saying? So, it depends on who your godparent is. You can still get initiated in the United States, but they have certain sacred sites within the United States. You know what I mean? But then sometimes some people will go to Africa, or some people will go to, it depends on what religion you're practicing, because there's a difference between, and people got to understand this, voodoo that's distinctively African voodoo. African voodoo, okay, outside of the diaspora. So I'm talking about just plain old African voodoo from people in Africa that were never, from the diaspora, right? We may have similar things, but their practice is different. Then you have people of mixed race that, or someone who touched the Americas during the diaspora. They're going to practice voodoo or the ATRs of the diaspora, right? And you're going to have spirits on there. They were specifically came into things during, right? During the times of the diaspora. A perfect example is Ezilidanto. Ezilidanto is not part of African voodoo. She came later on, right, during the Haitian Revolution. So it's going to be a different type of voodoo. There is no Catholicism in African voodoo. That is something that is, distinctive to the people of the diaspora. Still voodoo, but there are differences. There's differences between Haitian voodoo and 21 divisions. There's differences between Puerto Rican voodoo, 21 divisions, and Haitian voodoo, and so on and so forth. Maria, no, it is not necessarily needed, right? It is not necessarily needed unless the spirits say that is needed. And a lot of people don't know how to decipher between they wanting to do that because they feel they have to, like that FOMO, fear of missing out, and an actual calling, because sometimes a spirit may require somebody to get initiated because they did a big thing for you. Like I known people that they get initiated because, maybe they wanted to make in the music business. And the spirits are like, okay, we'll get you that record deal, we'll get you that doo-doo-doo with that label, but we requiring that you get initiated after you get signed to a record label. Or we require you to get initiated because they broke this really big curse. You know what I'm saying? There's been people that were dying and the medicine doesn't know why, and the spirits saved their life, and then they get initiated as a way of thanking the spirits. So the spirits will tell you if that's something they want you to do or not, and believe me, you will know. The spirits. So it depends on what they want you to do. Like I said, there's many people that have gone their whole life, they have a solitary practice that They never get initiated, and that's nothing wrong with that. Heavy in Togo. See, there you go, Lena. There you go. See? So, yeah, so there's a difference. A lot of people confuse that. It's just like Ifa, even though a lot of religions are inspired by Ifa, right? Ifa and Santeria are two different things. Like, yes, they work with Orishas, da 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 da. But the way in which they work with Orishas, Santeria is saint. They work with them through saints and Catholicism and some Native American practices because of the Tainos. So that's why I like to work with the ATRs of the diaspora, because it helps me to connect to my First Nations heritage, my Black heritage, and all of it in between. Like, I just feel a connection, because when you're working, for example, voodoo, or you're working espiritismo, sansismo, and those types of practices, you're actually like, there's different divisions because they relate to your bloodline. You are honoring the spirits within your bloodline. So that's what because that's what my ancestors left behind for me. That's what I practice. That, does that make sense? It relates more to my culture, you know? So hopefully that makes sense. She said heavy in Togo. Yup, 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 yup. I don't practice Palo, to be honest. That is not my calling. I know practitioners of Palo. Okay. I don't really like the term darker. We could say they work more with the left-handed path, right? So it's more justice stuff and things like that. But Santeria has the left-handed path in it too. A lot of these things that people say is stemmed in anti-blackness and racism. Because you'll have people that practice Santeria, that if you tell them you practice Haitian voodoo, African voodoo, 21 divisions, their little demeanor in the botanica completely changes. So, you know what I mean? All paths have a right handed side, which is the healing part, and the left handed side, which seeks justice. All the religions have that. It's just that it stems from anti blackness. So they're going to say Palo is so evil. But is it any different than voodoo, for instance? Not really, So a lot of that's just anti blackness, honestly. Yeah, Palo is very much more. So Palo has a lot of in common with voodoo. Okay, so Orishas, right? I feel like I'm giving a class, but it's whatever. They're more like saints or demigods kind of energy, right? A lot of them have never been human, all these things, right? So sometimes Haitians will say the Orishas are a little bit slower acting, but they get results, right? In Santeria, right? There's a lot of divination before they do stuff, right? And then the Loa, right? These are ancestor spirits, okay? These are most of the time human. The same could be said Santeria versus Palomayombe. They work a lot with, conjuring spirits, spirits of the dead, ancestors, stuff like that. It's more of a mediumship thing too. And, because they work with bones, people are so afraid of that. But if you look back historically, a lot of First Nations people kept the bones of their family members. You know what I mean? It's just that we live in a world where it's very Abrahamic religion. They don't really respect the religions of other people, right? So it's more along that line. Now, can people use these paths for evil? Hell yeah. Can people misuse the spirits? Yes, but that's not different from any other religion. I've seen people that practice Abrahamic religions, that wish bad on people, that do really bad things in real life, that judge people, that disown their children because they're gay. How is that different from stuff that people witches do? You know what I'm saying? The bad witches or whatever. You know what I mean? So I've seen religious people do a very atrocious stuff. So yeah, I feel like there's darkness in any religion that you practice, to be honest with you. But not even just the crusades. Let's talk about, in certain churches where even recent history where they had to sue the priest because they were doing things to children, even in recent history. I know somebody who was, they went to Haiti as, you know how people do ministry, they do like, oh my God, I'm trying to think of the name, missionary work. Recent. This is prior to COVID. And they said that the missionaries that they went with went into the sacred temples of the Loa and broke the statues and disrespected. During COVID, there were Mambos and Hugans in Haiti that were unalived by the church because they blamed COVID on voodoo when the Mambos and Hugans were actually trying to heal people. That's why they didn't have as much COVID as other people. They were healing people through medicine because they don't have accessibility to vaccines. But you have people that so-called practice certain religions. This is why Haitians gatekeep voodoo so strongly, because to this day, we are oppressed for practicing our religion. And this is why they're so protective of it, because we have died for it. Not just in the witch trials, not in just Salem. We're talking about right now. There are people literally in the continent of Africa in certain regions that, they unalive people there too. There are people throughout the world that lose their life for practicing religions of their ancestors because of colonization. It's not just in the Salem trial, it's happening right now every single day. You know how many people have been arrested because they're santeros and they have done initiations with animals? And even though that's protected by the amendment, because a santero went against the Supreme Court and won that suit, they still get arrested to this day for practicing the religion of their ancestors. Yet, you have other religions, and I'm not going to say what it is because I'm not trying to get this live shut down, that literally have a year every single day they sacrifice chickens in that Abrahamic religion, and the police don't care. But if we go and we say we're practicing indigenous religions, or we say we're practicing African religions, we get arrested in our own countries and in America. So come on now. Yeah. It's not just voodoo, it's santeria, it's anything. It wasn't legal in the United States for some indigenous people to play their own drums till the 1970s. Voodoo didn't become legal in Haiti till the 2000s. It was always underground. So this is why people of closed traditions protect their religion so highly, because people from outside the culture can practice it freely, but we can't. So it's a protection thing. It's not a racist thing. It's not because we think we better, but all these things. Yes, there are madrinas that, and you have this other anti-blackness thing where I'll see people working with orishas, but they don't like the people that the orisha looks like. Can we make that make sense? How you colorist, but you're working with African spirits is my question. But you see it every day. It's crazy. It is what it is. I've seen it all, people. So yeah, so it just I've seen it. I've seen it. I moved out of my last neighborhood, but people were scared of me because when they first saw me do certain things, they would give me church pamphlets and stuff, and I stood up against them. I was like, I already have my own religion, with all due respect. And I did like a whole like I did a whole thing outside. I scared the whole neighborhood. They left me alone because they saw I wasn't gonna back down. Because they spent a whole year trying to convert me because they saw that I was this evil person. Like, you don't even know nothing about me. That's crazy. But I've been through that myself. That's why, like, I practice, but I don't advertise it because people be kind of like in these streets, okay? Mm-hmm. Because people really do demonize anything that they don't understand. It's crazy. Like it is real. Yeah, it's real. But you even have people, like I said, within the ATRs, like, oh, voodoo's evil, but Santeria's good, or Santeria ain't all that, but voodoo's better. And it's just like, it's annoying already at that point. Oh, I'm a spiritualist. I don't do none of that stuff. I don't do Santeria. I don't do. So you'll have like elitism within the spiritual community. They think like theirs is so pure and wonderful, and this religion is so horrible and it's so dumb. Madrina against ATR. What's happening? Long story, but I didn't choose her to be my madrina. Shaman '05 line. Is somebody bullying somebody on my chat? Because I'll take them out of the chat. Oh, me? Oh, thank you, Lex. I love you for that. Or is this a conversation? I'm very confused. I'm very confused what's happening right now. I always knew I was different as a young girl. Yep. But yeah, basically, Oh, and I did look at my phone earlier. Thank you to all the people that are buying the classes. I appreciate you guys. Oh, okay, okay, okay. Because I was like very confused. I was like, what's happening? Are we fighting? Like, what's going on? Because we never fight in here. But it never made sense to you. The Bible's a book of spells. I like it for spells. Because I own Bibles. I use them for spell work and all that kinds of stuff. But yeah. I'm the only daughter she couldn't brainwash, she said. Sorry, Shaman 05 line. Hopefully you're still with us. I didn't know what was happening. I was like, are we fighting? What's going on? But no, y'all were just conversating. So my apologies for being nosy. She said she's grateful. Yeah. I did religion, Abrahamic religion myself. So I went through the whole thing. I got as far as being like a youth pastor, blah to do. So and then I became a pastor eventually. I never had a church though. I didn't go as far as getting a church. I kind of left after that, but I'm grateful. So I could technically marry people and baptize people. I don't remember if I did or not because I've been doing so many readings. Sometimes I do read stuff, but I don't have time to answer anybody back because I'm working so much. I've been trying to really shorten my wait times and stuff like that. And then I was also scripting the classes. So I may have read it and not got back to you because it's really hard for me to answer everybody's personal messages and stuff. Yeah, so I'm sorry if I didn't get back to you, but I probably did read it. But I don't remember. But I usually read whatever people send me. It might take me a couple days or something, but it's just I get a lot of emails. I get a lot of like, you know what I mean? So it's like hard to keep up with everything. Okay, so I probably did read it. I agree. Shaman, I agree. Yes. No, I'm asking. Uh she said her madrinas against the ATRs. It never makes sense when you have Afro Latino. Thank you. Like, okay. Yes, Shaman, I agree with you, my love. But I've seen it happen. And I've noticed this trend too, like in botanicas, like they work with African spirits, but the statues don't look African no more. Like the statues look like they got vertigo or something. You know what I'm saying? Like they bleach their skin. Like, why does Oshun look like she European for some reason? Like, what are we like? It's hard to find African looking Oshun sometimes, or even Yamaya too. I'm like, Yamaya's an African spirit. Like, why she look like that? So it's annoying. Yes, I hope so too. She's like, exactly, Shaman. Make it make sense. It's called self hate, for real, for real. You can't say you work with a kind of spirit from a certain culture and then not like the people of the culture. Come on now. So my recommendation for those of you that are called to work with the saints, a very reliable source. I'm going to talk more about this when we meet up, but I just wanted to throw it out there for everybody else. A very reliable source is any type of Catholic website. If you want to work with like traditional saints, folk saints is different because remember, folk saints are not recognized by the church. But the ones that are recognized by the church, if you want to learn what they aspects they, if you just want to work with the pure essence of the saint, go to a Catholic website. They have, you can Google the saint and it'll tell you all the things. So just a quick little tip there. Also, my mother bought me this book of saints, and stuff like that. Because there's so many different saints, guys, and saints from like different cultures. Okay, because representation matters. Like there's saints from so many different cultures. So saints be doing what they got to do. I like saints. I work with saints. I work with archangels and guardian angels. I work with orishas. I work with loas. I work with all that stuff. I love that. I love it. I love that. I love saint cards. I have a whole book of saint cards. No, and the reason why is, if I'm being honest with you, I do not work with her. I do not work with her at all. So because I don't work with her, she's not a spirit that, I know of her, but she kind of belongs to a specific culture. But she does call sometimes people outside of her culture to work with her, and that has happened. But because she has not called me, and I do not work with her, and the reason why I don't work with her is because I work with a very similar energy spirit, and so it just wouldn't work out. So I do not work with her, so I don't feel that it will be ethical or respectful for me to give a Santa Muerte class when I do not work with Santa Muerte. I would never give a class on a spirit that I don't feel like I know of her. I can be like, hey, you could, this is how you set up an altar, because I've talked to devotees of Santa Muerte. I live with a devotee, whatever, you know what I mean? So I grew up around her, but I directly do not work with her. So I feel, that it would not be ethical for me to give a class on her because I don't have a direct relationship with her, right? I have given her offerings. I have family that works with her, that kind of stuff. But again, I don't directly work with her. So hopefully that makes sense. I always like to be honest. I have to find how to sign up for Destiny. That's what the ancestors did too. Exactly. You're not doing anything that the ancestors didn't do and still don't do. Hey, hey, hey. So I would do it. You know, and nothing beats Bath and Body Works candles, because they be having those tropical candles. So let's say, I want to pray to Yemaya, you can light a coconut candle. You know what I'm saying? I want to pray to Oshun, you could buy a sunflower scented candle. So you could buy aromatherapy candles, disguise, but they're actually for reasons. So I told you I used to practice like that all the time. There was this maple candle that I had. My ex was like, "You always burning maple syrup candles," but there was something I was doing with that. That's why. You know what I mean? So I used to disguise a lot of stuff back in the days of my Bath and Body Works stuff. And I'm like, you don't even know that you touched that candle and there's certain essence in that candle. Ha ha ha. So oh, I like to smell that candle. Keep touching that candle. Of course it did. We're practicing religions of former enslaved people. Former enslaved people did not have all the tools that we have at our disposal today. So, yes, it works all the time. We had ancestors that literally used their own waste product to do candles, okay? Things that came out their own body, you know? So, yes, we are in an era now where it's become so superficial and so. My magic, my rituals, whatever, are very simple because they're very traditional. Like candles are a thing, but like I work with other things outside of that. You know what I mean? And I do more than just light a candle. Like there's other curios and things that I'm using that are more traditional because back then we didn't have candles. So I can work with things that you don't even know I'm doing stuff, right? If to the naked eye, you'd be like, why is she doing that? But I'm doing something. You know what I mean? So I work that way. Voodoo is very much that way. So that's why I like working that stuff because it may seem simple, but you're doing really powerful stuff because you're working with the spirit of the plant, you're working with the spirit of fire. Like, it's this social media stuff that makes you think you have to spend hundreds of dollars on tools. And a lot of those people don't even manifest the stuff that they're saying they're manifesting. We're in a society of flex culture and fakeness. Like for instance, it reminds me of like those couples channels you'll see on social media. They'll post, "Oh, I'm so happy with my boo bear," but meanwhile the cameras are off. They're punching each other in the face. You know what I mean? So it's like a lot of that stuff is fake. It's just because they want attention or whatever. So a real practitioner, you'll see the results in their real life. Okay. Okay. Somebody has to open the mouth of that statue to make sure that the right spirit is there, whether it's yourself or a spiritualist. But you have to have somebody to teach you how to do it the appropriate way because if you don't open the mouth of that statue and set up your altar a specific way, you might attract the wrong spirit. So that's the answer to that. You don't necessarily have to have a madrina, but you need to have somebody that's well versed in the practice that you're trying to set up the altar for, or you may have the chance of. That's why I offer this like mentorship thing that I do, where if someone has a calling, I teach people how to do it themselves because maybe they had bad experiences with other spiritualists that put something else in there, or just so they can know how to do it for themselves. So basically, there's a certain way that you have to do that. There's like a certain protocol. Hopefully that makes sense. Yes, exactly. Very fake. So yeah, that's basically how that works and stuff. But all right, guys, I did not realize that I've been on for like the last 2 hours talking my face off and everything. So, but I haven't gone live in so long. I think my kids fell asleep too. They have school tomorrow. The house is like really quiet. Yeah, because my older kids are home, but like they're quiet. I think they fell asleep. They're like, "Girl, I ain't even gonna wait for you." Thank you, long lost Yellow Ranger. Thank you to everyone who joined in the chat, everyone who purchased my classes because I did make sales and everything. I did look, earlier, so it was looking good. I haven't checked yet because I just wanted to chat with you guys, but thank you so much for everything. Thank you to everybody who buys my classes. Thank you to everybody who joined our chat and catching up and everything. It was awesome. I hope you guys have a wonderful St. Valentine's Day, whether you're single, married, self love, whatever it is that you're doing. I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful St. Valentine's Day. And I'm going to leave this live chat or whatever. So whoever wants to watch it later, they could just watch it back and everything like that. But thank you to everybody who tuned in today. Much love, much light, much blessings. Thank you so much for joining the stream. And I hope you all have um oh no, I have a mentorship service because I have a class for specific. I'm selling Papa Legba, Elegua, Santa Marta Dominadora, and Oshun classes. But outside of that, in my website, I have mentorship sessions. So if your question was, or I want to learn how to set up altar for a specific spirit, you will book that session and I will teach you how to do it. You can write notes on it, whatever, whatever, whatever. So I have mentorship services for like the kind of questions you asked, how to set up an altar, stuff like that. So outside of my classes, I do kind of like mentorship too. I always do mentorship. So it's available on my website. It's I think it's called mentorship sessions or something like that. So if you go to shamanic.com, that service is available on my website. All right, guys. Much love, light, and blessings. Thank you so much for being in this live. I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of the day. Enjoy St. Valentine's Day. I'm going to try to post a video tomorrow for that white bath for Santa Clara on the memberships. So I'll try to do that and everything. And I'm going to put this on the 29 Days of Melanated Excellence for the people that want to watch back everything. All right, guys. Talk to you later. Much love, light. Bye.